Hello, and welcome to the University of Law. In today's video, this is, I say annual, it's only my actual second time doing it, but the second of an annual tradition of looking at what's ahead for Big Finish Productions. So we're just coming out of 2023. As of day of recording, the Seventh Doctor Last Day Part 1 hasn't come out yet. So I haven't listened to all of the 2023 releases. So this will come out on the 1st of January, and by the time you're watching, you should have already seen my review of 2023 that's coming out before then, which I'll record as soon as I've heard all of the releases for this year. It's been a great year. Obviously, it's been the 60th anniversary year, but it looks like there's some equally fun stuff, not least this Sontaran series. So let's dive right in. The first release of the year, fittingly, it's a First Doctor release, featuring the First Doctor. This is my first time buying the Stephen Noonan ones. For me personally, I only tend to buy a Doctor that's recast when they've got original cast members in, unless it's the Time War. I buy anything Time War. And the reason for that is it's just a personal thing that, as with all of us, we've all got a limit on budget and space. So I wish I could buy everything. So for me, that's just where I draw the line. But I know lots of people love the recast of the First Doctor. Certainly from what I've heard of trailers, etc., it sounds like a very faithful version. Now, we've got Maureen O'Brien back as Vicky, so I'm buying this release. Very much looking forward to it. I know it continues from previous releases, so I'm hoping that I can pick up as I go. I'm pleased that Dodo is in it, because I love that companion. It'll be interesting to see Dodo back. We've got this sort of cartoon artwork here. The Daleks back, of course. I think it's Stephen Noonan's first time up against the Daleks, so it should be very, very fun. It's a post-Mythmakers Vicky, probably playing to the recent collection trailer and the recent Tales of the TARDIS minisode, hopefully, as well. Daleks, Dodo, First Doctor, what's not to love? It's obviously set in that period just before the War Machines. So here are the two together. We've got a nice little cast list here. General Custer, that's interesting, so it looks like it's American history, with Daleks as well. I do love it when the First Doctor looks at historicals. I guess it's kind of fitting in that it's similar to the Gunfighters was American history, which featured the Dodo and Stephen. It does say here that Chris Naylor did the artwork. I know he plays Harry Sullivan, and I know he's done some great artwork for various ranges before. So that's first release of the year. Now, I'm most looking forward to this year, this Sontaran versus Rutan series. I love the Sontarans and the Rutans. We don't see enough of their eternal battle. There was a great adventure game in the Matt Smith era that had Rutans and Sontarans battling it out in the middle of the Gunpowder Plot, and I loved that. For me, the adventure games themselves were the highlight of the Matt Smith era. To me, they're proper blockbuster episodes in their own right, and I just absolutely adored them. So it's great to see this, and what's even better here is we've got Charlie and Curry's back, and looking at backstage, we've got some behind the scenes, and it says we've got the band back together. So it looks like they were all recording together. Sometimes it's not always possible with actor availability, but the trio definitely recorded together for the first time since, I guess, 2005, I'd imagine. Maybe earlier. So yeah, here's the cast. They've kept it quite brief. Maybe there's going to be more. There might be a final cast list to come. But as it stands, it's Paul McGann, India Fisher, Conrad Westmus back as Cariz, and obviously Dan Starkey as a Roman Sontaran. So, very exciting. And it's saying 77 minutes. I'm assuming that's including the bonus features, the extra material, unless it is, in fact, a extra long feature-length episode. Maybe the extras are download only. So that's a nice fun way to kick off the year in January with those two releases. We've then got the next instalment of the Ninth Doctor Adventures. This is Series 3, Box Set 3. I think in previous years we've had 4 a year. We had 3 a year this year, which makes sense because that's what most Doctors only get 2. So that makes sense. Maybe they're going to kind of pace it a bit more now that he's established. Not much detail other than the fact that Chris Eccleston's in it. But it looks quite fun, so it's the 3rd series. I loved the second box set of Series 3. As I've said, they get better every time. I don't know how they're going to surpass the last one, but they usually do. But no details on that as yet. That comes out in February. He's my favourite Doctor. I grew up, he was my first Doctor properly, and looking forward to that next one. And as I say, will it be this and the previously announced set this next year? Will there be a third one? Will they do 3 a year? Or go down to 2? Let's see. Then we've got the next Centauran versus Rutan set. From here on in, we don't know which Doctor it's going to be. There's no details at all, other than the fact that the Centaurans are in it. I love this artwork. It's got all the Doctors who are featured. Yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing who it's going to be. I think the War Doctor I'm most excited about. But I'm excited about all 4 Doctors in it, to be fair. So, that's the next one. Children of the Future. Is there any kind of... no details at all. Okay, then in March, we've got Storm of the Sea Devils, which is the long-awaited meeting of the 4th Doctor with Harry and Naomi. Obviously, he knows Harry already, but this is how Harry comes back into the fold, and how he meets Naomi for the first time. So we've been watching their life in, back to front, really, with the Nemesis stuff and the 7th Doctor stuff. We're now seeing it in the right order. So we've got Storm of the Sea Devils as the first story, 4-parter, and then Worlds Beyond as a two-parter. So that is quite fun. And obviously Sea Devils back in that first from a nice little unit, so I think it'll be quite fun. Unit, Harry and Unit, Sea Devils. Seeing I do love when you see the 4th Doctor in that world that he kind of inherited but kind of left quite quickly. So that was recorded back in 2019. I've had this in pre-order pretty much since. They announced it in 2020, I think. During Big Finish Day that year, during lockdown. So there we go. Alan Turing's in it. That's interesting. So there's a bit of a historical there. Well, that's interesting. They must be going... Oh, unless he's in the second... No, he can't be. Oh, no, he is. He's in the second story, yeah. Yeah. Because otherwise it couldn't have been a contemporary unit story, because it would have been a generation earlier, but that would have been interesting. They've done a few unit harking back to World War II, and it doesn't feel quite out of place, does it? There we go. So that is in March. Also in March, it's our last one for which there is a cover released, and that is the long-anticipated Classic Doctors, New Monsters, Broken Memories. It was meant to come out, I think, around the anniversary. It's got the 4th Doctor, 6th, 7th and 8th. It's very much a Moffat box set here. We've got the Silence, we've got the Clockwork Droids, we've got the Silence. See what I did there? So we've got Invasion of the Body Stealers by Johnny Morris. I think, are they the ones from... They were in 2 Christmas specials with Capaldi, I think. So there's that. With the 4th Doctor and Sarah. That'd be interesting. I don't think there's any of just them 2 together currently. It's always with Harry, isn't it? Then we've got the Queen of Clocks, which is the one with the 6th Doctor and Mel, Clockwork Droids, the Silent Priest. We've got a Silence story with the 8th Doctor during the Time War, and I think it's a bit of a 2-parter, the 3rd and 4th part, with the 8th and 7th Doctors kind of crossing over with the Silence. So it's a bit of a 200, but we've got the 7th Doctor in his kind of end game, coming up to TV moving, and the 8th Doctor obviously coming up to his end game in the Time War. So that should be fun, and very similar to the Dream Crab one they did recently in the last set with the 6th Doctor and 8th Doctor, having a bit of a crossover. Here we've got some behind the scenes pictures. Although that's interesting because I didn't know Leela was in the set. I think these are potentially some pictures from the last box set, because I know the 3rd Doctor was in the last one, but not this one. So maybe it's pictures from both recording sessions. So here we have it. I think that's pretty much everyone who's been announced. And I'm guessing Nick Briggs is reprising the Silence, having done it on television. I'm assuming he did on television as well. So that's the last one for which we have a cover. That's March 2024. Also in March 2024, we've got the first of the 2 6th Doctor sets. No details at all. Possibly carrying on with Hebe and Mel carrying on their adventures together, or maybe going back, maybe carrying on some of the threads left with either Perry, who's travelling with him having been reunited, or maybe I'm hoping at some point we get the Constance and Flip arc continue, because I loved that trio and I'd love to see how that story progresses. We've then got the Centauran Born to Die story. I'm guessing, there'll be no details other than when it was recorded, so again we don't know which Doctor it's going to be yet. We've then got the Fifth Doctor Adventures, the first Fifth Doctor set of the year. Judging by recent form, it will be a Tegan and Nyssa story. I think they've all been Tegan and Nyssa so far, at least all the ones in 2023 were, which is like the classic lineup, isn't it? Maybe we'll get some Turlough action. Maybe it will be a set that has a few different stories, or maybe we'll get 2 sets next year. One will be like maybe could have Perry, maybe if Perry's not with the Sixth Doctor this year. I suspect we might see the Sixth Doctor and Perry. I reckon we might get a break from Mel and Hebe this year, not least because we're going to be seeing Mel on television, other than her Centauran appearance, of course. So maybe we'll kind of get one of him with Turlough and Tegan maybe later, and then maybe one a little bit early with Adric. That'd be quite fun across the 2 sets, but we'll have to see, because obviously the main drive, the main character development arc seems to be happening through Tegan and Nyssa, so that make more sense to keep them with those companions. Then we got in April as well the finale to Centaurans in name only. It's possible that this final one will be the one to feature the Third Doctor, seeing as the Third Doctor was the first Doctor to meet the Centaurans on screen. It'd be fitting to have the Third Doctor round off this series, but we shall see. I like how it's an epic story being told across 4 parts. Maybe we're going to get... Oh no, we can't go backwards because the War Doctor's later than the 8th. I like how it's a big story with a finale. As I mentioned before, I like the fact that with this it's 4 episodes across 4 months and you have to keep tuning in and following the story. I do like that. I like the fact that they get a separate cover art. When they come, they arrive separately in the post. You get that experience of the story being dripped to you. You got to wait a month for the next part of the story rather than binging it. You savour it a bit more. I've loved that with Once and Future this year, and it makes me realise how much I missed the monthly range. I love the box sets now. Absolutely, they're a great way of telling stories and different stories, and I love the box sets themselves. They save space in particular, that's why I like them. But these are chunkier, having 4 separate CDs, but I do like it's a bit more of an event. And maybe if they do 1 event a year, that'd be quite fun. A bit like Time Lord Victorious and Once and Future. Just to kind of having 1 event series a year, perhaps. Then we got there was a bit of a swap around, wasn't there? I think this was meant to be the slot for the 8th Doctor Time War, but instead it's Echoes, which, from what I've gathered, it doesn't say it here, but from what I've heard, I think this is Charlie on Audacity. This is continuing the story on. They've mentioned that there's meant to be a bit of a link to the Time War stuff because the actress of Audacity was in Time War. So there's maybe possibly a link there. Maybe that's why they've been swapped over. Maybe the link's going to be witnessed next year. Who knows? That could be quite fun. Now, the next Ninth Doctor set, the finale to Season 3, is coming out in May, which would suggest, with the timings, that maybe we're getting 1 more next year, or even 2 more. I wouldn't bank on that. Maybe they're going to give it a bit of a rest and then relaunch in 2025. Of course, it's his 20th anniversary. Maybe there'll be a big release for 2025, but let's not speculate there. This is a 2024 video. Again, I suspect there's going to be no details here at all. No. I know recently he was interviewed at a convention panel, and he did say he'd be up for doing some stuff with Rose. So maybe Series 4 will be kind of set within Series 1. Maybe there'll be some nice Doctor and Rose stuff. Interestingly, there's nothing. This is all my pre-orders for next year. You'll notice there's no War Doctor Begin stuff because that range has ended. But I suspect there will be a couple of War Doctor releases next year. Maybe the War Doctor continues. Maybe it'll be like a big event like the War Doctor Skull Moon and a bit of a bigger story across several box sets. But keep my fingers crossed that we hear something maybe in the last week of the year, maybe early in 2024. Get that on pre-order. Because obviously there could be other special releases that I haven't pre-ordered because they've not been announced yet. So this is the shape of 2024. So far there is a release a month that I've got pre-ordered. There could be more stuff. We've then got the next volume. This is coming into June. There's the next volume of 4th Doctor Adventures. I think there's 3 next year. We've got names: Matryoshka, The Caged Assassin, and Metamorphosis. So 3 stories in that set, recorded in 2019 and 2020. Doesn't tell us anything other than the fact that it's carrying on the story with Harry and Naomi. I'm guessing in the 3rd set, that's when we see them getting accidentally dropped off in the 21st century, which is where we pick up in Nemesis, into the 7th Doctor Adventures, and into their further travels. Speaking of which, we've got in the same month 7th Doctor Adventures The Last Day 2. From what I understand, having not listened to it yet, because it's not been released yet, there was no an announcement of Harry and Naomi being in The Last Day Volume 1. Maybe there'll be a Volume 2, and maybe there'll be a link there with the 2 releases in the same month. Let's see. But it looks like a really fun release. I'm looking forward to seeing how it pays off. Currently there's a cast list here, and they're not really saying... this pretty much looks like the same cast, which is a massive cast, don't get me wrong, the same cast as Volume 1, so I don't think there'll be any extra characters. But I mean, with a cast list like that, I mean, that's a stellar cast list. Look at that list of companions and villains. Really looking forward to this set, both Volume 1 and Volume 2. I've been wanting to do this for a long time. All I wanted to see them now do is maybe a War Doctor The Last Day set, maybe a Ninth Doctor The First Day set would be quite fun. So, let's just see. But yeah, looking forward to listening to that when it comes out tomorrow. Okay, then we've got the wonderful 2nd Doctor Adventures carrying on. This is carrying on with the War Beyond War Games series, and there's nothing here at all. I'm assuming we'll have Fraser Hines in again. They're now on the run from Raven. Perhaps we're going to start to see their past catching up within the Time Lords, or the CIA kind of rolling their sleeves up and, you know, really trying to work to get the Doctor back. Maybe there'll be some punishment this time, and maybe we'll see some payoff to the whole Dalek Emperor thing that was left hanging in the box set 1, and we were getting a bit of a reprieve from in box set 2, so maybe that's going to come back now, and possibly with a big finale for the 4th set, but let's see. Then in August, we've got the 2nd 6th Doctor set. So as with earlier, I could speculate that maybe it's going to be a continuation of Mel and Hebe. Maybe one of them will be Perry or Constance and Flip, but we'll see. I was right. In September, there's a 3rd volume to the 4th Doctor, and yeah, this will be the set then where we've got the Face in the Storm and Dominant Species. And I'm assuming these are the... Funny enough, they didn't mention Harry and Naomi, did they, on the last credits, if I remember correctly? But they are in this one, and this is the one where they get dropped off, and it leads into the unit stuff and the 7th Doctor stuff. In the same month, September, we've got the 3rd Gallifrey War Room. I'm loving this series, and I'm guessing this will have our usual mix of Alistra, the General, Leela, Vectlin, all those characters that we know and love. But there's no details yet, and why would there be? It's 9 months away. In the same month again, busy month September, we've got the 2nd 5th Doctor set, and again, there will be nothing in here in terms of cast. Yeah, no details yet, other than the fact that Peter Davison's in it. So again, presumably it will be either carrying the Nyssa and Tegan character development arc for all 3 characters, or maybe a pop to see Adric or Perry or Turlough, maybe. Maybe Turlough on his own, maybe Turlough with Tegan, maybe Turlough with Nyssa and Tegan. Who knows? Could be any combination. Now, we've then got, as I mentioned earlier, the Time War Volume 6 has been moved to November. Now, it says Uncharted 1. What was the 8th Doctor set that they moved to this with? Because that's called Echoes. Now, Echoes could be temporal echoes. There could be a link. So they've teased a link between these sets. But it doesn't look like it's going to be resolved next year, because this set is called teasingly Uncharted 1. Now, it's not up for pre-order yet, but presumably that implies a 7th Time War set called Uncharted 2, at the least, if not an 8th called Uncharted 3. So that's exciting. So this is kind of the post-Bliss. I think Bliss as a character, although she's been cleverly dropped in, like in the recent War Doctor range, she's been cleverly dropped in. It seems that the Time War has overwritten their time together. So this is him now travelling with his grandson, Alex. He was travelling, spoiler alert from almost a year ago now, he was travelling with Cass from his final story. Cass has been erased from time. Are we going to see some feedback from that? In the same way that Bliss has been rewritten, so has Cass. Is he going to get Cass back? Are we going to see Cass again? Is she going to be in the finale to tease to come back for the final set where they bring together all of this stuff with Audacity, etc.? Could Charlie be in it? So much potential here. Looking forward to what they're doing here with the Eighth Doctor. And again, this could all lead into a big Eighth Doctor the Final Day box set, because really, Night of the Doctor is a very small piece, so you could have that he literally went to rescue Cass off of the back of a huge big explosive story across several box sets, and then at the end of the set he gets called to save Cass. Maybe the tragedy is he knows Cass and he's been travelling with Cass, and he goes to save her after her mind's been wiped or time's been rewritten, and he knows who Cass is. That could be quite fun. Then you could play off that, couldn't you, with the War Doctor stuff? Maybe he could be reintroduced. I know actually he couldn't, because Cass was killed when she Night of the Doctor, but there could be some repercussions where he he's trying to get over that decision. Maybe that's what really contributed to the Doctor, giving in to becoming the Warrior, because of that decision was even more momentous than we even thought. That this was his companion who, thanks to the war, didn't even know who he was. So great potential there. Speaking of the Time War, we've got the War Master, Future Phantoms. This, I believe, is the very last one to be directed or produced by Scott Hancock. I think the range is continuing. We've had no official announcement, but from my gather, the range is continuing, but it'll be under a new producer. I think it's Alfie Shaw. Maybe I've got that completely wrong, but I think that's what's coming next. Or maybe I've just got that confused with the Short Trips range. But I think that's what's up next. But Scott Hancock obviously launched this amazing spin-off. He's done a great job. Great to see what someone else does. It's always interesting to see what someone else does with the potential, but I will miss his vision, and I'm glad we're getting this big set, and I'm expecting big things from this set. But of course, Scott's off now doing the wonderful televised version of Doctor Who as well. Cast, we've just got Derek Jacobi announced at the moment. Here they are: Scott Hancock, Derek Jacobi, and Nicholas Briggs. But no details, and that's November next year. Yeah, I've got nothing for October at the moment. Actually, in November we've got double Time War. We've got Time War 8th Doctor, the War Master, and triple. We've got a Time War story with the coda to Once and Future. Now, who on earth is going to be the Doctor in this? Because the story wrapped up very nicely with episode 7. It's all finished. There's no reason for there to be another Doctor. Presumably, it's the War Doctor carrying on, because it was done during the War Doctor's era, and he's picking up and dealing with the pieces, maybe putting things right after some of the events, maybe dealing with some of the ghosts, or dealing with some of the fallout of the series. So that'd be fun. So we could get 8th Doctor, War Master, and War Doctor all in the same month next year for the big Time War month, for the 61st anniversary of our favourite programme. Interestingly, if they do a War Doctor new range, which they've teased they will do, and I'm certain they will, I'm hoping he does get to meet the Master. Maybe it could be a longer arc with the War Master in. Maybe the War Doctor comes into this final set to meet the War Master. Fingers crossed. But certainly, maybe with this era of the War Master ending and an era of the War Doctor just having ended as well, maybe we'll see their paths cross in a brand new set. Maybe they have to work together on something. Maybe they're put on a mission together across a couple of sets. That'd be really fun to see. And maybe we see that the Doctor is now even more ruthless than the Master. But that could be difficult with Derek Jacobi. But who knows? That'd be a really interesting direction, especially given the recent Billis Manger story. That'd be quite fun to see the War Master on the back foot of who's the darkest character. And also in November we've got the second 7th Doctor set of the year of 2024. I'm guessing the last day is wrapped up by then, so this is a different set. Yeah, all they're saying is that it's got Sylvester McCoy in. Could this be him with Ace or Hex, or could it be carrying on the story with Ace and Mel that we've seen in the main range that wasn't resolved? Could we be seeing him again with Naomi and Harry? Could this be a return of another character? I'd love to see Beth Chalmers back as her character from the Lost Stories and the Unit story Reign. Could it be, I forgot her name, the one who works for Unit from the parallel universe? I can't. Klein, is that her name? We could have Klein back. Who knows? There's so many ways that they could go with this. Or it could just be a classic Seventh Doctor and Ace set during their TV stories. They haven't done many of those, and to be fair, you probably wouldn't, because the series ended on screen. You can carry the stories on. There's been so much development with Big Finish. It'd be a shame to do a box set that doesn't carry on all that development that they've grown. Maybe it's actually, I do love their new adventure stuff. Hopefully with Chris Quegg and Ross. That'd be great. I love that. I love that stuff. It could even be an adaptation box set. Who knows? And then rounding the year off, we've got the second of the Eighth Doctor adventures. This isn't a Time War related one. Again, there's nothing on here at all. I'm assuming this is Charlie and Audacity, but there's nothing on there. There's no details. It could equally be a Lucy box set, or it could be Mary Shelley, or it could be a comic strip adaptation. It could be anything. Could be Liv and Helen carrying on their story. Who knows? Because we know that the first one for definite and the Time War could be linked. If it's resolved by the Time War, maybe this is a new fresh start. Maybe the link hasn't become apparent yet, and we're still carrying on mining the Audacity and Charlie stories for a big clash together in 2025 with the next set, the next Time War set number 7, or maybe it'll just be a reprieve set while they wait to finish the story with the 7th set. There's so many ways that they could go about it, and that's 2024 because that's the only release I've currently got on pre-order for December 24. Looking ahead, obviously we've got the War Room Volume 4 up for September 25, and still no dates for the Fugitive Doctor sets, but possibly soon. So that is a look at what is planned for 2024. There's plenty of action. There won't have been any Third Doctor sets you've seen in my pre-orders, because as I say, I don't tend to order them unless there's a returning cast member. I'm assuming one of the sets next year will have Joe Jones back when they're travelling together post-Green Death, and I'm really hoping that they do that, because I love the first one, so I'm assuming at some point next year as well there'll be a Third Doctor set to add to my collection. So there we have it. What's my most anticipated release? Certainly the 8th Doctor stuff. All of it looks really exciting. All of the Time War stuff coming in November looks really exciting as well. The War Doctor in general, looking forward to the War Doctor Begins. Well, whatever it's going to be called, War Doctor Continues. Whatever it is that they're making, I'm assuming they're doing next, will be really fun. I'm hoping there's potential with the War Master, etc. The Coda looks obviously is really exciting for Once and Future. 7th Doctor, The Last Day Part 2. I want to see the round-up to that. So you have the 8th Doctor stuff, War Doctor stuff, 7th Doctor stuff, but most importantly, we're looking forward to all of it's going to be fun. The first, all of it. See where the 2nd Doctor goes. All of it, yeah. There's no point with saying there's one thing in particular, because all of it is. But my particular one that's grabbed my attention is the Centauran one, because it's so unexpected. It's come out of nowhere. The artwork looks amazing. The launch poster looks absolutely incredible. I love the Centaurans. I love the Rootons. I love their ongoing war. I don't feel it's been explored enough on screen, even in other media. I don't think it's ever been properly explored in Big Finish. I'm really looking forward to seeing that. I love the event nature of it over 4 monthly parts, individual cover art, individual sets, the build up, the anticipation, and the War Doctor in the mix, and actually getting a photographic cover of the young War Doctor. I'm really looking forward to that. So yeah, that's probably my most anticipated of everything next year, would be the Centauran series, and in particular the War Doctor edition. But what are your thoughts? What are you looking forward to about 2024? Do let me know in the comments below. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. I look forward to speaking to you soon.